Yo, what up, guys? This is Donald, aka D-Bot, here with the West Box Score podcast. We recorded today's episode before the Dodgers made their historic 107th win of the season. And if you listen to 2 episodes back, we kind of previewed back that this Dodgers season was already historical. It just felt like it. So, yeah, it was the top of the 10th. Freddie Freeman single. Mookie Betts comes home. The Dodgers win 1-0. And yeah, now we have a record-breaking season for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They previously held the record at 106 wins. That was done back in 2019, and they also achieved it in 2021. But yeah, this is super dope. Next week, we will do a bigger deep dive into the Dodgers run and what the postseason will look like and how it's going to shake up and shake out with the roster, who the pitchers are. I believe Roberts hasn't announced anything, but yeah, other than that, we just wanted to pop in and say that real quick to kind of show you guys that we're really on top of it. We're really trying to stay up to date. But other than that, enjoy the rest of this episode.
Yo, D-Bot, what's up, buddy?
Yo, what's going on, brother?
Just here, man. Just enjoying the warm LA weather.
Yeah.
In Southeast LA, not downtown LA, where LAFC claims is the only real part of LA. So we got to start there with the big news that happened in the football world here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, massive. Would you say it's massive?
It was.
Would you say it's groundbreaking?
I would say it's groundbreaking. Yeah.
Are we all blowing this out of proportion or not really?
No, man. I feel like I had said this like a while back that they needed to do this in a bigger venue. That this was too big for either of the venues to be able to fully what do you call it? Like be able to fully immersely enjoy what this meant. You know what I mean? Because around the world with other things and rivalries, the stadiums are just bigger. You know, and it just feels more natural when you see it on TV. So, and if you don't know what we're talking about, right?
We have to talk about the big, massive news, right? Trafico. You know, as you were mentioning, as you were alluding to the other football rivalries, right? You have El Clásico, which is what Barcelona versus Real Madrid, and those stadiums. Those capacities? The capacity for those stadiums got to be in what, like the 80s, right?
Yeah,
80,000
feels like it.
Range.
Yeah, for sure, more than 60. You know,
definitely 60,000 range. We'll say that. Don't quote us on that. We don't fact check here.
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely in the 60, right? And then you have the Super Clásico in Liga MX. You have Chivas versus América. And you have Estadio Azteca, right? That one's for sure, I think, 80,000. Yeah. So, and massive stadiums, right? And we have it Trafico here. LA soccer, it's huge right now. And especially because of the rivalry between the LA Galaxy and LAFC. And the biggest stadium we have is the one in Carson. Yes, Dignity Health Sports Park, which is about, 22,000, I want to say?
I want to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And 22. Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably like 25 because I feel like the Bank of California Stadium is around 22,000. That sounds about right. It's only like about 3,000. It's definitely in that 20,000 range. Anyways, we know Dignity Health Sports Park bigger by like about 5,000 or so, which is not like super. It's not like it's so much more huge, right?
Yeah.
But it really is. It has a capacity for more. But even when you play in that bigger stadium, it doesn't, like you said, doesn't feel like that magnitude of a huge game. The field feels like it. I mean, watching it, and even in that small stadium, it does feel like it. So that's my question, really, with this whole thing to you, Donald. It's great to see a Trafico in those smaller stadiums. Do you think it'll translate to the bigger stadiums?
I think so. I think
it will just make it feel more bigger.
It will feel bigger. I know of so many people that, you know, that live in LA that aren't even fans of either team. They're like transplants that, you know, would love to experience something like this. And I think that having it be in a neutral site definitely helps. It makes it more inviting, you know. I am a little curious about the logistics of it, you know, how the supporters will be placed, things like that. Because I know everybody's, including myself, you know, we're thinking about like kind of the negatives as well, like, you know, how many things will go down.
Why do we have to be so negative? We don't have to be so negative about this. Come
because
on.
it's a heated rivalry, man. So
it is very heated. Yes.
We've witnessed that.
There's bad people on both sides.
There's a lot of bad people, especially once alcohol gets involved. It's not good.
I mean, let's not blame alcohol completely. These people are going to be jerks no matter what. They just blame alcohol as for the reason of their jerkness.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. There's some people out there looking to just, make it about themselves rather than the game itself, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They're just they're not there to enjoy the game, which sucks. Because this is great for the sport. It's great for the rivalry. That is because, like I was saying, the rivalry feels big on the pitch. There's probably only been one at Trafico that didn't live up to the hype, and I think it was like the 2021 year. It was right after COVID, and I felt like they gave us like 3 at Traficos in 1 year, and
that's right.
Like they oversaturated it just a bit, and I think it was not just the oversaturation. It was like it came off of like a long week for both teams, so like they were just trying to cram in so many games in that schedule that year.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just felt a little flat. But other than that, when it's twice a year, it's just home and home. It's huge. Like both players are up for it. Like, and I'm sure LAFC fans will say it's the Galaxy's World Cup, as they like to say. And it's just not that. It's just you got to play every game like that. Yes, and I get Galaxy don't necessarily do that for, I'm sorry, like a Real Salt Lake necessarily. But
yeah, exactly.
But they do for LAFC because that's the rival. That's where you really want to, show it in their face.
That's true.
When they try to talk smack to you, like San Jose found out.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
So yes, it's huge. It's and I feel like the Traficos always live up to their hype. So it's just very fitting that it should be in this big stadium, and I hope everyone realizes it and treats it like the celebration it is. And I agree with, and I understand your point. Like, how are they going to separate the supporter groups? I think the supporter groups for both teams are the only ones that really need to be separated. I think fan bases, as passionate as we are, I mean, we don't. If I see somebody from LAFC, it's not on site for me. No. Like it's not like I look at them and I kind of like, come on, what are you doing? I I kind of look at them like, you support that team. I'm like, whatever. Like you support soccer overall, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure other people feel different. What do you feel like when you see somebody wearing LAFC gear, Donald?
Yeah, no, same as you, man. It's just like, oh man, like what's funny is I don't when I see them, I kind of wonder if they're from LA to begin with, or did they just move here,
Are they transplants?
Yeah, exactly, because they do have that market. Let's not make it like they don't. I mean, I've been to the bank, and it's very more, it feels very like it's catered to the affluent affluent individual of Los Angeles, and
the gentrifiers, if you will.
I guess if you want to label it that, yeah.
Some people would. I mean, I wouldn't.
Craft beer and fancy tacos. But yeah, so I feel like that whole, like, yeah, like, it is what it is, but I don't have any sort of crazy animosity towards any individual. You know what I mean? It's just like,
of course not.
It's all fun and it's all friendly. At least for me, it's just a game. I just always hope that the Galaxy wins so that I can brag about it afterwards, because that's what really feels good. That you can walk out of the stadium, kind of proud that your team, conquered the other team. Especially when it's LAFC. It's kind of close to like how I feel about the Raiders when the Chargers play them. You know what I mean? It's just this whole like we have to see them every year, so let's just take care of business. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And to your point, I think the supporter groups. I'm interested with the supporter groups, especially on the Galaxy side, because I know the LAFC side tend to be very united under one banner of the 3252, but I know
shoulder to shoulder, if you would.
Yeah, exactly. And but I know with the Galaxy, it's different. We got V Block, but then we have the Riot Squad, and it's kind of like, I think in this case, Riot Squad's gonna have to like kind of swallow their whole, like, and not stand in that corner, but see if
they're still gonna want their own little corner of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
they're not gonna want to stand with their supporter group.
So, yeah, it was just kind of.
Well, we need that for the studio, the stereo effect of when they chant back and forth to each other. So it's gonna be a little tough to pull off in a way bigger stadium, but they'll try.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they set them up like end to end, goal to goal. That would be fun.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
for
and
sure.
then everybody else like somewhere in the middle, just kind of like all
Well,
scattered. So it'd be fun. That's what I want to see, So because I still think about the experience, and I still want to see a good experience from both sides, both supporters really coming out and doing something great and making it feel like a historical moment, sponsored by Apple. So
brought to you by our Apple overlords.
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
That's it. I mean, I'm excited. Let me talk about that. I'm excited for the MLS to be on Apple
yeah, me
TV.
too.
I mean,
$4.99 a
no
month.
more, yeah, no more blackouts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, you just got to pay for one streaming service, and then you get all of MLS games.
yeah,
I mean, why not? I mean, and what I really like about it is the uniformity of the schedule too. Games only on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that update.
That's
Yeah,
massive.
yeah,
That's perfect for scheduling.
yeah. That
Like,
is
none of these
true.
random Tuesday or Friday, Sunday games. It's like all over, and then
Yeah,
we're only like two teams are playing. Like, this is great. Like, oh, give me like all day long Wednesday afternoon through Wednesday night matchups.
yeah, man.
All day long Saturday. Like, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's really great that they did that. I forgot about that update. I mean the Apple thing overshadowed everything because yeah, the whole blackout stuff was always annoying because I remember paying for ESPN Plus thinking I'm gonna be able to watch the Galaxy and then it's like, oh no, you don't get that game. And then I didn't have Spectrum, so luckily Discord came through, but you know, Discord can't be tossed on the TV the way you
Exactly,
can
man.
with Apple TV. So thank you to Tim Cook and the Apple team for only charging us $5 a month for all this content with no ads because they had that much money to like not need the ads.
They're at because you're watching an Apple ad during the broadcast, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just look at the Apple TV broadcast of MLB baseball, and
Yeah.
that's so hopefully, and that's what I want to bring up right now. Like, that commentary team for Apple TV for MLB, it's freaking brutal, man. And I love Katie Nolan. I think she's hilarious when she does like
Yeah.
her sports comedy bits. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I get she tries to crowbar in her comedy, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I'm an old curmudgeon now this time with my baseball watching.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the time or place for it, or it just doesn't feel natural sometimes, where it just takes me out. Like, I kind of sad watch it sometimes. Like, oh, how bad is this joke gonna fall flat right now? And then maybe it has to do with the people in the booth with her, right? I mean, Hunter Pence got the personality with Dead Moth, man. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that like it feels like Apple's really testing the waters with sports broadcasting, and I feel like I guess if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it with like the leagues that are not. Even though MLB to me is up there, I would have preferred them probably doing this on hockey if they had to choose like a sport.
Easy. That's a big four right there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But like, hopefully with the MLS, they do a better job. I am curious about the broadcasting for all the teams because I know Joe Tutino has been doing it for the Galaxy since the beginning. So does that mean he still has a job? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even for the LAFC guy, I think what's his name, Max something. Max B, I forgot what his last name was, but he's been doing it for the TV side for a while. Because I remember when the Galaxy and LAFC had that match together, Max did it with Joe together when they were. I forgot what. I don't know if they were on ESPN or something.
It was for the Open Cup.
Oh, that's right. It was the Open Cup match. That's right. Yeah. So that was like a big deal. So like. Yeah, and I felt like okay, like obviously, and then Max talked about how he worked at the Galaxy prior and all that. That's how he got the chops for the broadcast. So
he's just like all the LAFC fans. I'm a former Galaxy fan, but now I'm an LAFC fan because I don't like the way the team where Galaxy's going. I don't like the way they treat me when I buy season tickets. Like, all right, whatever. I mean, once again, when it comes to sports fandom. Listen, what are we doing? Sports fandom is dumb, right? We all get it. Well, it's just funny when you try to play this narrative of like, we're starting from the ground up. It's all organic, grassroots, and it's like, no, you're just defecting. You're not like brand new, soccer fans, which would be great. Like, and I get that there can't be new soccer fans. I mean, but there's new soccer fans every day. Like, make new soccer fans every day. Like, don't defect. Like. Have a little bit of loyalty for your team.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly, because I think there's also that effect of like relevancy and wanting to kind of make sure that you do everything you can to keep the team relevant, your club relevant. And maybe I don't know if we'll get to this in a different episode, but even with NWSL, right? Like, I know we have Angel City, but at the same time, like, it kind of worries me when I see like Bleacher Report reporting that, like, was it Arsenal versus Tottenham, the women's teams got like a huge draw in stadium attendance, and I'm just like, I think I sent you that post, and I said, like, it feels like NWSL will be in a timer for, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I mean, I don't know what the answer would be for America, but it just feels like it's only a matter of time before these women European clubs take over. And guess what? They're using the same branding that's already working for the men. Barcelona, everybody that's big, Man United, like, and it's gonna, FIFA's already doing that. I think they featured a European club player for the FIFA, with the women's cover of the video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking in my head, like, dude, don't the U.S. women have the most cups, and don't we have the best? Like, why didn't they feature anybody from here? So that's where I get a little concerned. But maybe we'll get into that conversation some other time when maybe Angel City's season wraps up. But yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm a huge defender for the MLS. I know that it's not the same as Premier League and all that. I'm not saying it's better, but it is ours,
I mean, it is ours, and it's in the United States, right? It's like probably the fifth or fourth, famous, league
soon to be first.
Soon to be first, with a lot of speculation by everybody who are throwing wild guesses out there. Joseph, my cousin, but it's just I would love, as much as I would love to see it be a top. The top league in the United States. It's just not going to happen, especially with how the men are going to probably perform in the World Cup coming up. But but it also creates excitement when the United States is going to host the World Cup, 2026. Exactly. So that's exciting. But to your point about the NWSL, man, Angel City sold out all their games for their home games this year, and there's a wait list for season tickets for them next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are positives, and hopefully the fan base keeps growing. And I was really surprised. People that I sat to next to when I had season tickets for Angel City were brand new soccer fans, transplants, like you said, from out of state. And since they came to LA, they're like, oh, well, there's this new, we hear LA is going to get a women's soccer team. Great. Like, let's follow them. And they followed the entire league after the announcement of the LA getting the team. They started following the league itself. So they became brand new soccer fans, brand new LA soccer fans.
Yeah.
To add to that. And when I asked them, when I asked my neighbors there about what MLS team they root for, they're like, oh, we don't watch MLS. So all they watch is NWSL.
That's good.
So, and I don't know, and yeah, right. I think that's great. And it's also great, also very important that if when you're at Angel City games to support only Angel City and not wear any other gear from MLS teams. Or, I mean, I get you're going to have your random like Liga or national teams. National teams are all fine. Go for it.
Yeah.
But it's just a little odd. It's an odd look. It's not a look, guys. That's all I'm going to say. You know who you are.
Yeah.
All right. So talking about LA Galaxy and LAFC, let's wrap our update on what's going on, where there's 2 games left, right?
Yeah.
For the LA Galaxy to possibly clinch a playoff spot, all because of what happened in San Jose this past week.
Yeah.
And we talked about it last time. At Cali Clásico, anything can happen. Anything can happen and did happen. What happened, Donald? Start with the pregame tifo.
The tifo. That's what I was gonna bring up right now. So San Jose's supporters section pulled out the tifo. Right. It said it had 2 clowns on there, which I thought was pretty bold that they even included LAFC. I don't know why, but they did that. Probably because they didn't have another opportunity.
Because LAFC lives rent free in their heads. That's what they'll say.
Yeah, and yeah, and so they pull up the tifo and it says the LA Circus, different clowns, same. I forgot what the last part was.
Same clowns, different costumes.
Yeah, same clowns, different costumes, and it had 2 clowns, one of them in blue and yellow, and the other one in gold and black.
I mean, I gotta take a little umbrage. Like, why are you gonna take a shot at LAFC right now? Like, they can't defend themselves.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
I did not like that just a little bit. I was like, dude, do that. I mean, I don't know. It just felt
just
a
put
little.
our clown in the middle and make it bigger.
It's what I would have felt would have made sense.
Maybe make his arms are wide or something. I don't know.
That's just the Bay Area inferiority complex they have with LA as a whole. That's what that showed to me.
That's very true.
So yeah.
So yeah, that's what they did, and of course, what transpired over the next 90 minutes was basically the Galaxy defeating San Jose 3-2. Chicharito with 2 goals, and I think the celebration is what everybody remembers. He basically went up to that fan base and did a clowning sort of style dance to let them know that that tifo was very well recognized and well acknowledged. It was really fun, and I like that he really trolled with them even afterwards in the plane. He did like an Instagram story thing with him being with the clown face, and yeah, he really just laid in on that. So
yeah, and I think in the post-game press conference, they even asked him if he noticed it and if it gave him any extra incentive to play. He's like, of course I noticed it, and of course that's why I played better. Yeah, and I love the way. And of course, Galaxy Twitter goes off and says, that clown dance was aimed toward San Jose fans and also Tata Martino.
Oh yeah.
So, and after what happened this week with the 3, very fitting.
Yeah,
very fitting that because, oh man, that was a tough loss for a 3. A couple nights ago or last night, depending on when you listen to this. It's to lose to Colombia after leading 2-0 at halftime, and then dropping 3-2.
Yeah,
it served right. They threw water. They threw a cup of water over at Tata as he was leaving the stadium.
Oh, shoot.
So I mean, as you could tell, Italy fans not happy that he's in charge, not happy that he didn't bother to call Chicha. Everyone knows Chicha's doing better or in good shape right now, and it would be fitting to bring him for his one last World Cup. A lot of fans are. I mean, there's a lot of mixture. I see, right? The people are saying no, he's old. We need to look younger, but a lot of people also say like give him his last hurrah kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's where I tend to be leaning toward. But this guy's in charge, and not in charge very well, man.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I digress. Going back to Galaxy, so the result they get the result they needed. Now they're in the driver's seat for a big game, game this Saturday. Are you ready, Donald?
Yes, I am ready. I am.
We'll be there, man.
We will be there.
Oh man,
it's gonna be fun.
I'm worried about their past history with because this was their last home game of the season, scheduled home game of the season.
Yeah.
And they don't do well on last scheduled games of the season.
No.
I think they're like 0-8 in their last 8 seasons, something like that.
Yeah.
Not the best record. You don't want to. I mean, because they can clinch if they get the 3 points here, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and they won't have to worry about decision day. If they only come away with a point, they're still in a good spot. If they don't get any points, they're in an even tougher spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, what do you think, Donald? What are your hopes for, or what do you think could be the outcome for this game?
I mean, I'm hoping that they do get the 3 points so that they can clinch and not worry about it. Like you said, the draw is kind of 50-50. I did see that Seattle drew yesterday.
Yep.
So that actually helped the Galaxy. So that's why I feel like a draw would kind of put them in, but not the most ideal. The best scenario would be just to win it and just kind of make the final game, which would be a road game, just be a insignificant need to actually play it like that. Maybe rest your starters or something like that. But for now, it feels like it's like win and you're in, and that's what we have to hope for. But like you said, it's always tough, because last season we went to the last game and they drew, which would have put them in. But then Real Salt Lake, I believe, was the team.
I believe it was, yes.
That scored in extra time.
On a handball.
And and then that gave them the 3 points they needed to, take it for the Galaxy, take that last spot. And the Galaxy stayed out of the playoffs based off results and like right below the line. And that was really heartbreaking to see.
So what you're saying is a great narrative for them to get some revenge for last season.
Exactly. That's what it is. And I just think that they just got to do it. They got to do it. I feel like they can do it. They just got to come in with that same energy they had in San Jose. It's just replicate that.
I know the V Block is working on their own tifo for this match.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. Obviously, we'll find out that day.
Yeah.
But I know they were doing some tifo painting last weekend. So whatever it is, I hope it doesn't energize RSL. So I hope it can only. And what I've really liked about a lot of the V Block tifos, they don't tend to, not always. I mean, when LAFC are in town, they probably take a little bit of a shot. But the ones I've seen, at least, they tend to be very celebrating, self-celebratory, right? They like the 5 rings, this whole thing, the hand with 5 rings comes to mind right away. So they don't tend to take shots at the other teams. They tend to like glamorize their own team and get their own team going. So hopefully that's what this is also inspired. Maybe, it'd be great if it's this is just me what I would have done, like a whole like it's like like the candles, the Mexican candles, and it's like Chicharito with like a saint.
So, like we're lighting a candle.
We're lighting a candle for Chicha. It's Santo. Chicha et Santo
to win it over for us.
So So I hope it's very celebratory, and Galaxy come out on the front foot, looking well. RSL's not doing well going into this match. They played actually about 6 days. It'll be less than a week before that next match on October 1st, Saturday. They lost a friendly to Atlas, and they haven't got a point into last time they actually got points was September 10th. Last time they actually won a game was August 31st. So they're not in the best shape coming into this match. Galaxy obviously riding that hot streak right now. They've scored points. Just so you know, all of September and all of August. They've only lost once in each of those months.
Oh wow.
They've drawn or won.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So they are playing well, even though they're not getting the 3 points. They're not dropping too many points either, which is why they're in such a good spot, which is why, like we talked about before, it's like, take the Band-Aid off already. It's like, well, they're not, because they're not like losing horribly.
No, they're hanging in there.
I mean, it feels like they're losing because they're leaving 2 points out on the board sometimes. A couple of times they have. So they have felt like losses. But they're still coming away with a point. Yeah,
that's true. That's like when in like in any tournament that happens, right? Like each group gets to play each other, so you get 3 games guaranteed. And whenever one team draws like 2 games, the third game feels like you have to win. And even with the win, you're still at the mercy of other teams having to lose in order to get in. So it feels like those 2 draws really hurt you more than they helped you, even though they're supposed to be draws and it's supposed to give you somewhat of an advantage, but it's never good. It's crazy. So that's why I understand what you're saying with the whole like, they're kind of hanging on, but it almost feels more like a loss than it does feel like a win, because there's no real guarantee on their end. They have to really play it out as is and hope for the best. Like for us, it's different. We win and we're in, and
that's all we got to do, man. I think it's because you look back, because we could be battling for home field.
That's true.
Just to get in, had it not been for that Chicharito Peneka that he did in stoppage time, had just little things like that. Had they held on in Toronto that game prior, and had they held on against Seattle in August, like, so there's just this team could be a lot higher, and it kind of makes you wonder: are they playing hot at the right time? Like, are they finally finding their chemistry at the right time? And that's good for the Galaxy. And speaking of team chemistry, not so good for LAFC. I mean, they're probably going to win. They're definitely going to win the Western Conference top seed. They're battling now for the Supporter Shield. 2019, 2012, 2022 Supporter Shield champions. Good luck. But yes, I mean, that's huge also. But the team's LAFC itself has been looking kind of flat ever since Gareth Bale showed up. So, I mean...
Yeah.
I wish Sonny were here to ask him, like, are you worried?
Yeah.
But what do you think, as neutral as you can be, Donald? What do you think about LAFC
I
so
mean,
far?
it's interesting because I remember when the Gareth Bale announcement happened, I was like, oh, wow, this is huge for the club. I mean, outside of Vela, I think this is like this, it's like the second biggest signing where like this name carries a lot of weight.
Right.
And I think a lot of people felt, and obviously, I think his debut was at El Trafico, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he came and waved to the crowd.
Oh, that's right. It was the match after El Trafico. That's right. But he was at El Trafico at this bank.
Right.
He was in yeah, I remember now.
He was in the bank.
Yeah, he was in the bank, but he just said hi. But yeah, he wasn't suited up. But like yeah, my thing was just like I guess in an interesting way, LAFC was already ahead when he came on, so it almost felt like it's almost like they didn't really need him.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of interesting that like the narrative of it looks like there's like a weird plateau that they're hitting since he came on, but yet they pulled away so far. They were so far ahead in the beginning that it almost feels almost insignificant in terms of standings. But come playoffs, we'll see what this looks like. But I mean, I'm hearing the same thing you are, where it's kind of like people are a little shaky because it is playoffs. It's one game, you lose it, you're done, and it could almost feel like, oh, then why do we sign these guys? You know what I mean? And that's kind of usually what ends up happening. What you end up thinking about, but yeah, man. I mean, it's just interesting. It's really really interesting to see. I didn't realize that the coach was actually going to be able to pull something off like this, like really pull that team to be first place. But yeah, he pulled it off, and it's pretty impressive.
That is very surprising and impressive. You're right. That's this team didn't make the playoffs last year. Remember that?
No.
Both Galaxy and LAFC were out in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And way to turn it around, man. That is a feat in itself. We'll see what happens if we get an Trafico matchup before the Rose Bowl matchup.
Oh, that'd
maybe
be good.
In the postseason, right?
That'd be awesome, we'll dude.
It would definitely be at the bank. They would have home field advantage because they're going to win the Western Conference, and that's going to suit them. They've only had one loss this entire season at the bank, so let's see. They're definitely all in this 2 shields. Let's see if they finally get the cup, man.
Yeah.
Good luck. Let's see what happens. Moving from the soccer pitch to the football gridiron, man. It's rivalry week.
Yeah.
It's big rivalry week. The LA Rams are about to take on the San Francisco Giants. Monday Night Football. The Rams coming off of a huge road win that they desperately need against Arizona. They looked good. They looked good, a lot better against Arizona than they did against Atlanta. And Stafford and Kupp always are clicking, like always. Yeah. But that defense was finally coming through for me. I finally saw more life out of the LA Rams defense. So I'm more hopeful going into Monday night. You never know with the 49ers. I think they took a loss on Sunday Night Football to Denver. And that was the Jimmy Garoppolo moonwalk for the safety was hilarious. But how about that safety actually working to their advantage? Right?
Yeah,
he stepped out for a safety, and it, as he stepped out, threw the pass, was picked off, and ran back into the end zone.
Yeah.
So the safety actually helped him. It's like, did he know? He must have known, right?
That's kind of I don't know, man. That was an interesting game. Yeah, it was like weird because I remember watching this game because I like watching Sunday Night Football, and I think that the matches are always interesting. I was interested in this one because of Denver Broncos being in the same division as the Chargers. I was kind of wanting to see, okay, how does Russell Wilson look, and all that. And yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, it was a really boring game, like really low scoring. I feel like the defenses were really impressive on both ends, but then at the same time, I also feel like there's just a lot of mistakes offensively from both sides. But Jimmy G really stuck out from like both of them. And man, I don't know what San Francisco does moving forward. It feels like their run game is something I trust more, but at the same time too, they don't have like these great star running backs that other teams have. And then the passing game is just like, I don't know. It's just, I mean, how much can Deebo Samuel do? You know, it feels like they really rely on that guy a lot. And I think that's not good because that's what they were doing last season. And I had said that. I was like, you can't rely on one guy to do everything, because sometimes he has to do. He's the one that runs the ball for them, and I think sometimes it's not good. You're wearing down somebody, and they have no help in the air. And yeah, it was just a funny it was just a funny game though, with just Jimmy G making those mistakes, the safety being the biggest one. But yeah, it was tough to watch. It was really tough to watch the game. So
Well, yeah, it should be a fun watch though on Monday night. Both teams always show up, and let's see how many Rams fans show up to Levi Stadium or SoFi Stadium North,
yeah.
as I like to call as I like to call it. How did your Chargers do, man?
Oh man, they got shellacked by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was bad. I kind of felt with all this news throughout the week that Justin Herbert was day to day. I mean, you look at the guy, right? He has a great arm, but he's really slim. So I just kind of felt like, dude, he's gonna have to take time off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I would have preferred that, given the result that happened, 38-10. I would have preferred if Herbert just completely didn't even show up to this game and just took the week off. But he pushed through, and it almost felt kind of not the best thing in terms of like safety that he had to still push through, given like how good Jacksonville's defense was. They were just all over, in the run, in the air. And I think for the most part, it sucks that Herbert wasn't 100%, because I think if he was 100%, we would have been more competitive. This game got really away from them, like in the second half. Like it was already over by like the middle of third quarter. And then on top of that, like we had guys get hurt on, just Joey Bosa left. I believe there was the first quarter. I saw him throw his helmet into the bench, which kind of was a signal that he knew he was going to be gone. And I think now they just revealed that he's gonna be in IR. He's gonna undergo surgery. We lost Jalen Guyton, who was the receiver who I believe replaced Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen was also out. So now Guyton's also out. And then Herbert is still like kind of in that day-to-day, questionable. Keenan Allen, they said that he might come back, that he started doing some practices, so hopefully we get him back. Rashawn Slater is out for sure. He just, I think he's out for the season. He's going under more testing. So it just feels like all these injuries mounted up in this game where they got train wrecked, and now I just don't know what to think about the season moving forward. I feel like it's still early, so I mean, if Herbert's still not 100%, I just don't feel like he should play. I get that our backups know better. I think we got Chase Daniel, who's not that good, but man, we can't risk having Herbert not be 100%. Like he looked so hurt playing in that game. Like he looked like he was pushing everything out of himself to look normal, but he didn't look normal, and his passes weren't the best. They weren't, he was doing everything he can to kind of push through it, but it wasn't good. It felt uncomfortable watching. So I don't know. It just kind of sucks to think that this is how the season's playing out for the Chargers. They got the Texans coming up, so we'll see how that goes with the Texans. But I really don't. I'm not trying to be too down on it. I'm just really trying to keep realistic view of it.
Do you think this is where the coach needs to step in and sit his guy down, like shut him down, because you obviously don't want your player to quit?
No, exactly, and I think that was a lot of the feedback from Chargers Twitter. Is like a lot of people were pissed at the offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, saying that like they should have not forced Herbert to play in that condition, and then also Brandon Staley for not kind of not stepping up for Herbert, and not, probably not, and just letting Lombardi know, like, dude, you got to work with Chase Daniels and just kind of make that happen. People do feel like Staley just didn't even bother to kind of, protect his guy. So it just feels like they didn't really do that part. And I don't know. I don't know what the inner workings are with the coaching and the ownership. If the ownership can step in, I think that would be an ideal thing. If they said, hey, we don't want Herbert out there, and they just kind of sit him out and shut him down for a while. But again, I just don't know. I mean, the Chargers got running backs. They got, Eckler. They got a couple guys they can rely on. But I just think that it wasn't a smart move. And I feel like I don't know what the coaching's thinking, but it just felt, a lot of people felt like Joe Lombardi probably pushed for the whole, like, no, we need Herbert to start, because, like, his playbook is built around him or whatever. So
Well, I mean, when's the bye week? When does he get a week of rest to recover, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's early. I mean, yeah, to your point, you would think sit the guy down, let him get some rest. You know who can't rest before the big playoffs is the Dodgers. They're still playing out their schedule. They're still in Slam Diego right now. And you know who they should sit down is Craig Kimbrel.
Yeah.
I mean, he shouldn't be on the I mean, so before we wrap up today, it's pretty much Dodgers are doing Dodger things, still winning, still gaming.
Yeah.
You know, they came back to tie it like around the 6th inning. They won the series against St. Louis, and you gotta say congratulations to Theo Albert, man.
Yeah, exactly. Congrats.
Home run 700 hit at Dodger Stadium on last Friday. So that's amazing. He's had a amazing career, mainly with. I'm always gonna remember him as a St. Louis Cardinal. I don't want to. Yeah. I mean, I know he spent a lot of years with the Angels. He spent like 2 months with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
and those were the best 2 months ever. And no, he was awesome. He was a great help on the roster. But obviously going to go into the Hall of Fame wearing the St. Louis Cardinals hat, and it's just amazing to see 700 home runs, right? And you wonder, had he not, gone to the Angels, had he played more postseason games, could he have hit more home runs?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just interesting to see that the still all-time home runs leader is going to be, another guy from San Francisco with an asterisk on it. Barry Bonds, 756. A wonderful. I mean, you kind of want to hope that Albert would just stick around 3 more years, man. Get 60 home runs.
Yeah.
Then you can hang it up.
Yeah.
But no, congratulations, man, to Theo Albert Pujols, 700 home runs. But going back to the Dodgers and when their playoffs are going to start, it's going to be October 11th is what I saw today is when game 1 of their NLDS is going to be. And San Diego with that win is probably going to definitely get a wild card spot. I mean, they have to after all when they won the trade deadline. How can they not?
Yeah, right.
be in the postseason now?
Yeah,
and but you don't. How can you possibly expect them to go far after what happened with Fernando Tatis?
Yeah,
and him being gone. For the rest of this year and some of next year. So, I mean, I'm surprised they're even going to make the wild card. But I don't expect them to go far. I kind of hope they get into the NLDS so the Dodgers can take them out.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind if Atlanta gets there also, so that way they could get a little bit of revenge for last year.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how this Dodgers roster shapes out because I am looking forward to seeing what the postseason roster is going to look like. Who are our 4 starter pitchers that are going to be the ones taking care of 1, 2, 3, 4, game 1, 2, 3, 4, and get the sweep every series because that's what I want. So
why not? 11 up and 11 down.
There you go. So just that. Obviously, the Kimbrel situation. I know that they announced that he will no longer be closing. Kind of like.
But yet he was there in the 10th. Which
yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like they didn't trust him in the 9th. But yet you trust them in the 10th. It's like, oh my.
When I read that report, I thought it was more like, oh, like we'll find you somewhere. We'll find you a spot
like
somewhere
in the 7th or 6th, right? Like you bring him in a middle reliever. Like you should never put him in this position.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I thought. So it was interesting that they still relied on him in extra innings. It was interesting, but yeah.
It kind of feels like they have nowhere else to put him possibly. We're like, oh, well, like maybe, he's still in the bullpen. That's right. Let's throw him out there.
Yeah.
So like they have their relievers in their 6th and their 7th and to set up role.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe he will be the odd man out because I just saw today David Price got activated. So I would rather see David Price coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
In those high pressure situations, maybe.
His final season, no?
Yeah. But of course, I want the bazooka in there in the 9th inning. That's who I want. Cruzal Gratterall.
Yeah,
I want
dude,
him in the 9th, dude. Throw him out there for the 10th too. He'll be out there. Oh man, Donald, man, good to talk to you again.
Yes,
we're gonna talk again next week after. Hopefully, we'll talk again next week after a fun night at the Galaxy game, right?
Yes, we will.
Hopefully, it's a lot more fun if positive things happen. We're gonna think positive about it going into that game.
Exactly. Do some tailgating. Enjoy the night.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Enjoying the supporter groups. We'll be out there in Carson. Give you a good time, man. Donald, that's it for us this week. See ya.
Later.